Hey guys! Immediately, I am moving on to the next TCG game. This time it's Final Fantasy. As soon as I heard that Final Fantasy had its own TCG, I went straight to look up artworks of it, and when I saw how cool they looked, I bought a booster box. I didn't do any research. I don't know the rarities in this set. I don't know what pull rates are like. It apparently comes with a promo card. It's just like the Dragon Ball one, most likely, so this is probably a random promo card you get in every booster box. Aerith is definitely a popular character, and that card looks pretty awesome, so I'm gonna have to check the value on that. I did the same thing in the Dragon Ball video. I was like, oh, I should have read the booster box information on the outside of it first. Also, these booster boxes are gigantic. They have 36 packs like Pokemon. I don't know how many cards are in each pack, but yeah, I won't make the same mistake. The Dragon Ball Super video, I thought it was saying you get all of these per booster box. No, it's just saying this is everything that's included in the set. 54 commons, 36 rares, 26 heroes, 14 legends. So it looks like legendary is the highest rarity, and oddly premium is lower than common? That's really strange, but I don't see any info on how many cards are in each pack. Okay, there we go. 12 cards per pack. Usually they put it right on the front and it's super easy to find. But wow, that means that these are bigger than Pokemon? Like, an entire booster box of this has 20% more cards than Pokemon packs do. And so far, out of every TCG game I've opened, also there's something really sparkly back there, Pokemon has had the most bulk in its booster boxes by far. Wow, there's Yuna! Okay, so I should probably go over characters I actually recognize and ones I don't. I've played like every Final Fantasy from 10 and newer, so I've played 10... Okay, I didn't play 11. 10, 12, 13... and a little bit of 15, but Yuna, she's from 10, and I think 10 is one of the most popular games, so any character from Final Fantasy X, I feel like would be worth at least a little. Okay, yeah, never mind, this is a 92-cent card, but I'm okay with keeping such a cool-looking card like. So any character from 10, 12, 13, 15, I will definitely recognize. I'll recognize the majority from Final Fantasy VII, even though I haven't played it. It's just kind of impossible to not know a lot about that game because it's just one of those games that went down in history and everybody knows at least a bit about it. I probably know more than the average person that hasn't played it just because I pay so close attention to video game related stuff. I don't know who that is though. But I'd imagine that the bulk of Final Fantasy cards are going to be completely worthless, like less than Pokemon, which Pokemon you can't even sell anymore for like 1 cent per card of bulk at this point. Because unlike Pokemon, despite this booster box being larger than Pokemon, these are, I think, I got this for like $78 for the entire booster box, and it's got 20% more cards in it than a Pokemon booster box. Like even Battle Styles and Fusion Strike, you couldn't ever really get in the 70s for prices. So I know what Chocobos are, but I don't recall ever seeing a fat one in any of the games that I played. Also, these slits are so dangerous. I keep getting caught on the cards, and those are the last things you want to get caught on because you'll end up bending them. I recognize that monster. That's from the, it's from Final Fantasy X. It's that one, what's it, Omega Dungeon? I think that's what it's called. Cactar, that's in a lot of the games. Shiva, wow, there's a lot of Final Fantasy X in this particular pack. I don't know who that is either. That's, like, the second boss you fight in Final Fantasy X. I actually relatively recently replayed through 10, so wow, yeah, again, so many Final Fantasy X characters all in that one pack, just not the I don't know what this rarity is. Let's see. Okay, they literally have a rarity called rare. That's a little bit redundant. That's probably what this one is. Final Fantasy X is definitely my favorite Final Fantasy game, though, out of the ones that I've played. So any rare cards I get from that one, like the Yuno one that I got, that would definitely be what I am looking for. So Final Fantasy specific rares. There's Kamar. Wow, it's like a chibi version of him or something. Cloud, Shiva, she's like the main turning point of the story in Final Fantasy X, I guess you could say. There's another, I mean, that's a Final Fantasy X rare card, I guess, but I'm not really too interested in most of the monsters, especially the generic ones like this. Maybe some of the more iconic ones. The number 1 card in this set is Lightning. The artwork of her card looks really cool, but to be honest, I'd still rather have the other Final Fantasy X characters, even though she's more valuable, just because I don't think I would sell these. I think I'd actually hold on to them if I got... No clue what that is, but it's really freaky looking. I don't think I'd sell even like the Titus, which is the second most valuable in the set. Oh, hang on. That's actually from Final Fantasy X. I just didn't recognize it because of these like purple clouds behind it. The face here is all you really see in the games. I think this is in the Thunder Plains. It doesn't really have this purple mist behind it at any point. Also, I'm just now looking at the back of the cards for the first time. Are these actually textured? Wow, yeah, they are. That's pretty cool. So unfortunately, from what little research I did, it was more just like shopping than research. I was looking at my options for Final Fantasy booster boxes to buy. And while this one is a fantastic value, considering how many cards you get, this was the only one I really saw that was an affordable price. It seems like Final Fantasy maybe doesn't release new sets too often, because everything else that I could find was like $160 or more for booster boxes. And when you're just kind of trying out new sets, at least for me, I don't really want to jump in and spend a ton of money on it. But yeah, I think the only other options were a couple of booster boxes that were in the high 100s range, and then everything past that. There was a bunch of other ones to choose from, but everything past those two that were in the high 100s range were like $200, $300, $400 for boxes. So it's kind of like going back to the Sun and Moon era for Pokemon. Hades? When is Hades in a Final Fantasy game? That's like, I didn't even know that they used Greek mythology. Oh, okay, it actually says on here in the lower left which Final Fantasy game it's from. So it's from Final Fantasy IX. Oh man, people are going to be mad at me for not knowing about Final Fantasy IX. That's another really popular one. Wait. Am I getting that confused with 8? Which one is the one that has Squall or Leon, whatever he's called? And Yuffie? I don't know if it's 8 or 9. Oh no. There's Squall right there. Okay, I can confirm right now. Okay, it's 8. Okay, I have no idea which one 9 is then. Sorry to anyone whose favorite Final Fantasy game is Final Fantasy IX. I never had a PlayStation 1. I started off with, I think, the Super Nintendo, but it was a very short-lived experience. I almost immediately went to Nintendo 64 as my first console, and as soon as I got the N64, my parents sold off the Super Nintendo. So I have very little experience with anything before that generation and anything else that was in that generation, because I only got one console. I didn't get both, so I was either going to get a Nintendo for a generation or a PlayStation for a generation. Unless I ended up buying it myself, which is actually exactly what I did in the very next generation, so maybe I'm just having a spotty memory. Yeah, I saved up money to purchase a Nintendo GameCube. I actually started off with a PlayStation 2, and since I was a kid, getting money took a long time. I just did like extra chores and stuff around the house for several months and eventually saved up. I think it was 100 or something like that for a GameCube. They did a special promotion. But I think Final Fantasy X was the third or fourth game that I got on PS2. The first game I know for sure is actually 2 games at once because it was for Christmas, so we got a PS2 and then we got 2 games to go with it. It was Kingdom Hearts and Harvest Moon Save the Homeland. Harvest Moon Save the Homeland was okay. It's definitely not my favorite. I do like the series, but I just think Save the Homeland was not really one of my favorite in the series. So I mostly just played Kingdom Hearts, which I absolutely loved. And honestly, I don't remember this, but that might have been the sole reason that I got into Final Fantasy was Kingdom Hearts, because I've had moments like that before where Smash Brothers has influenced me to play certain series. You know, they have characters from all different series, and sometimes I'll like playing a character in Smash Brothers, and I'll be like, I should play their game. That would be pretty cool. I don't remember, but maybe that's what happened with Kingdom Hearts. Maybe I saw all the Final Fantasy X characters. Well, there's really only 2 in the beginning, Waka and Tidus. Maybe seeing them and playing through all of Kingdom Hearts and liking Kingdom Hearts so much just made me think, I should play their games. If they're in such a good game, then the games that they come from must be really good. But I do remember being really young while playing Final Fantasy X, so I know it was at least one of the earliest games I got on the console, and also that card there is a different like hollow pattern than normal, so I don't know if that means it's a legendary rare or okay, no, it looks like this hollow pattern is actually what you don't want. The indicator is the final letter here in this combination, 16-027. It ends with a C. C stands for common, so I guess you can get common hollows. I should probably be opening these a bit quicker though, because with how enormous this booster box is, this video is probably going to be longer. One of my longest videos ever, possibly. Oh man, I hate these packs, by the way. Oh man, that was not good. I just really damaged that card. Please don't be anything too valuable that I just damaged. Watch this be my first legendary rare. I have no clue what that is, but the hollow pattern looks really cool. I do really like their hollow patterns. Let's see what rarity this is. Okay, hang on. I just looked up this card, and it is actually the most valuable card I got. I need to take a look and see if this is one of the ones I damaged from opening it so poorly. It looks okay. I think I got really lucky, and I only damaged the final card in the entire pack. But yeah, it's an $11 card. Not bad. I'm honestly super surprised that anything at all that I don't recognize would be worth much of anything, because there's just so many characters in the Final Fantasy verse that I would think only the top recognizable characters would ever be worth any money. That looks like another rare? Yeah, that's another rare. Again, don't recognize that at all, but it looks like it's just a monster from a game, so I seriously doubt any of the monsters are going to be worth that much. Yeah, okay, I called that one. That was a 12-cent card. I didn't think it'd be that low. Wow. This looks like a Red Dead Redemption 2 character. That looks so out of place for a Final Fantasy game, but hang on. Oh, okay, I was like, something doesn't feel right. The cards were stuck together, but also that pack felt incredibly light. I need to count the cards. That did not feel as heavy as the other packs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I knew it. Yeah, there was... Okay. That... Oh, wait. Okay, a bunch of the cards appear to be stuck together. Yeah, okay. Wow, look at this. Oh my gosh, these cards are... This one too? That... I don't know what's going on with that. That was still really strange though, because the pack, despite apparently actually having the right number of cards, still felt really light. Also, this guy had one of the cringiest scenes in any Final Fantasy game ever. The things that Cloud went through for Tifa. Yeah, thinking back when I was talking about I'll probably recognize Final Fantasy VII stuff, I was like, wait. I watched an entire playthrough of the game on YouTube. I didn't play it myself because I don't actually have a PlayStation 5. I don't even have a PS4. Like, I'm really old school when it comes to modern gaming. But yeah, I've seen the entire playthrough of Final Fantasy VII's remake, the first part. So yeah, it would be pretty bad if I didn't recognize the characters. Also just remembered that Final Fantasy VII Remake was on PS4, not on PS5. So that shows you about how much I keep up with modern consoles. Xbox is so much worse though, because I mean, at least PlayStation keeps it simple with here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, here's 4, here's 5. Xbox is like, here's the first one, it's just an Xbox. Here's the second one, here's the 360. And then the third one is like the 1. It's like, what's the first Xbox called then? And then they somehow made it even more confusing by going, well, now we've got the 1S. Okay, and next up we have the 1X. And then there's like the Series S and the Series X. And I don't know what the newest console on Xbox even is anymore. And I mean, I'm sort of a gamer and I don't even know. So it's like, Xbox, what are you doing with your naming scheme? If people who are pretty competent about gaming related knowledge have no idea what your most modern console even is. Okay, I thought I saw a different holo pattern on here. Yeah, this is a legend rarity, so definitely got to look this one up. Oh yeah, this is a $24 card. So between this one and the, what was it, Babus? Is that what it was called? We've gotten like $38 in value, and I spent, I think, $78 on the whole box. I probably still have half the box left too. I need to speed things up. So far, I've only really gotten cards that I'd want to sell. Other than the Yuna, I mean, I can only really sell cards that are like maybe $7 and up, because nobody wants to pay shipping fees on cards that are anything below that. But as far as, gosh, wow, wow. Wait, oh no, I was thinking this was a valuable card just because I saw Aerith again, but nope, that's the $2 Aerith card. That's so unfortunate. That's such a amazing looking holo pattern and everything, and such a cool character. And here we have Lightning with Yuna's outform and her staff. That's interesting. Was that like a DLC costume or something? And maybe Lightning returns. I only played Final Fantasy 13 Part 1. I didn't play Part 2 or Part 3. Man, I hate when that happens, though. It's like, I'm talking about something, trying to get a point across, and then I completely forget because I get some sort of holo pull in a booster pack. I mean, it's both a good and a bad thing, because it's like, I want to get stuff that I'm interested in, but at the same time, it makes me sound so dumb, because it's like... Oh, okay, let me... I just lost my train of thought again, but, when I was looking through the list, I believe that's a rare. I believe I saw this being one of the higher up cards. I don't think it was like top 5 or anything, but I think it was a bit valuable. You know, I've never personally searched for Final Fantasy booster pack openings because I honestly didn't even know that Final Fantasy had cards. But I really wish that a really big YouTuber would suddenly do openings of Final Fantasy stuff. Like, they just try it once for themselves for fun, and they'd be like, oh, this is so cool, and then they'd make videos of it, and this would, oh, that's a really cool one, and then this would just take off and become super popular, because this is really cool, and I'd love to open more of this. Jacked, Titus's dad, and that is a starter rare. I think starter rares are not a very high tier of rarity. I think that's like the second or third lowest. Oh my gosh, this is an 85-cent card. I didn't think it was going to be that valuable, but that's pathetic. I'm very happy to keep this then. It's just like the Yuno one. When it comes to collecting for me, a box like this I'd only really care about collecting all of the rarities of Final Fantasy X characters, like the main cast. I wouldn't care about the monsters or anything like that. And as soon as I did that, I'd be like, okay, I'm done with that set. I don't think I'm ever opening that again. But a lot of people, they just have to collect them all. There's another starter rare? No, that's... I don't understand. Like, the holo pattern looks exactly the same as the starter rare holo pattern. That's really odd that they label it with two different rarities. Why not just have this also as a... Or have the other one also as a rare? So I just remembered my cousin actually named his son after the protagonist of Final Fantasy XII. This is his son's name. That's so cool. And actually, his second son's name is Ash, which is like the main female character in Final Fantasy XII. But Ash can be both a boy and a girl's name. Like Ash from Pokemon, that's a boy. And then Ash from Final Fantasy XII is a girl. So he must... I don't know if that's his favorite game ever, or if he just... That's a cool looking card. If he just really loved those names. But... I'm curious if the regular version of this is worth anything, since the rare is worth quite a bit. Yeah, no, the Black Waltz 2 is not, and neither is this card. But for me, I really enjoyed the gameplay part of Final Fantasy XII. Not so much the characters or story. They were fine, but it just felt like in terms... Oh no, they're stuck together again. In terms of character and story, just those aspects alone, I felt like it was quite a bit of a... Oh my gosh, they're all stuck together. Quite a bit of a downgrade from Final Fantasy X. The gameplay was really good. I don't know if I liked it more than Final Fantasy X's gameplay or not. So I have no clue who this character is, but if the Final Fantasy community is anything like the Pokemon community, then... full art female character cards are always worth a lot. Okay, yeah, nope. That was an 11-cent card, but I guess it still doesn't really disprove the point because, like I said, the #1 card in the set is... Oh no, not this again. I need to find a better way to open these. Okay, there we go. I think I saved it. But yeah, the #1 card in the set is Lightning, who is a female, but the #2 is Titus, and that's a guy. But with Pokemon, yeah, it goes pretty far. Like, you can have characters that don't even have names. Just because they're female and full art, they're worth money. Like, Evolving Skies has Aroma Lady. Her name is literally Lady, and she's worth like $12, and a lot of the other full art trainers are worth like $3 or $4. So I'm getting pretty low on packs here. I can't tell how many are left, but the box, it's just looking kind of pretty empty here. Maybe 8 packs left? That's what I guess. Oh, okay. I know where that's from. That's from Final Fantasy 15. I don't think I watched an entire playthrough of Final Fantasy 15. I played like a little bit of it at my friend's house. Maybe a couple hours. I was kind of stuck there with nothing to do, so I just played it. But I did watch, like, I think all of the boss fights and story cutscenes. But at the end of the video, I want to show you a comparison of what a bulk pile of Final Fantasy looks like compared to Dragon Ball Super and also compared to Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so tiny in terms of its bulk piles. I thought that was gold for a second at the bottom there. It's kind of hard to tell. It actually might have been, so... we might get something really cool in this pack. Let's see. I think it's after this card. No, okay, it's not gold. It's just at certain angles, it can be basically any color, I guess. But yeah, I definitely prefer Yu-Gi-Oh's bulk because bulk is just not fun to deal with. Like, honestly, if Pokemon made it so that the dollar store packs, you know, those packs that have 3 cards in them, became the standard, and they ended up costing $3.99, but they tripled the rate at which you got pulls from them, I would much prefer it that way, because if you're just a collector, or if you're just a gambler looking to have fun, and you want to see if you can make profit on a box, but you know you'll usually lose, either way, you don't really want the bulk. I mean, if you cut the packs into a third and you tripled the pull rate for holos and full arts and stuff like that, then you would only end up with 100 and it's actually slightly less than 1/3 because it's currently 10 cards going down to 3. So 3 times 36, what is that? That's 118, I think. So you'd only end up with 118 cards in bulk compared to the current 360. Very preferable for the 118. Is this the perverted guy in Final Fantasy VII? Or maybe I'm thinking of someone else. The guy that Cloud goes through a lot of trauma to get to, but it was a different kind of trauma than he's used to. Honestly, Cloud's a pretty great friend because I don't think I'd go through what Cloud went through for anyone. I don't even think that was the guy, though. I think that was, like, it said he was a Shinra executive, so I think those are the people, and I didn't really, you know, the PS4 remake isn't the full story, so I don't really understand the entire story of Final Fantasy VII. I've just seen a small portion of it. Also, this is a new rarity. It is a hero rarity. I assume that's the highest rarity since this is the first one I've gotten this far in, but this is only a 45-cent card, so maybe I just got a trash one. The main 3 cards I was looking for was Waka, Titus, or Riku. Yuna was probably number 4, so that's still really cool to have. Oh, also, I should try to do a card trick. Let's try 5. I'm trying to get the... Okay, so, 7? Wow, it's really 7? That's so many more than Pokemon. So I'll just go through this one really quick since we're already spoiled what was in here. Terra. Familiar name, but don't recognize that. I guess it's an Aeon or a Summon, whatever they call it in whatever game it's from. But since I haven't gotten a single one of the cards, the top 3 that I was really looking for, I would totally be willing to open another booster box of this. Or even more than that, honestly, because this, I mean, it feels like a really good value. Like, the amount of cards you get, the number of holos you get, and at least in my experience so far, the value that has been returned to me is really good. Do they do what Yu-Gi-Oh! Does in, what is it, the Grand Creator set, where they kind of just move the rare card depending on what rarity it is? Because, I mean, I was talking while I was counting, but I'm pretty sure I just did 7 for the card trick, and that was, like, really out of place. You know, usually I can figure out how a booster box's rarities work by the end of a booster box opening, but that card I just got, with that extremely shiny holo pattern it had, let's just do a whole bunch this time. That was a common, and I have no clue why. Like, wouldn't a common just... Oh, that's a cool one! Seymour! Wouldn't a common just be, you know, no holo pattern whatsoever? But then they have cards like this that doesn't have a holo pattern, and down here it says it's a rare, so I'm really confused by that. It kind of seems like they should do 2 different rarities, one for the character and one for the holo pattern. Like, Seymour can be a rare character, but then his holo pattern can be a legend rarity holo. Also, this is a $19 card. I think I've paid off the whole box at this point. Poor Yuna, though. I mean, Seymour isn't even a main character. He's like one of the main villains, but Yuna is like second to Titus in terms of how important she is in the story and everything. And she's worth 92 cents. But anyway, this is the final pack. And I didn't do any card trick because I kind of gave up on it. Maybe I'll figure it out in the future. But next card after... Ooh, Bahamut. I always called him Bahamut, but I'm pretty sure the official pronunciation is Bahamut. Very strange sounding to me. Heavy Armored Soldier. I don't think that's going to be worth very much, but yeah, this was a ton of fun. So I'm going to show you a comparison of the bulk pile because this one's freaking enormous. And I might as well just do a quick recap on everything I got as well. So this is a Yu-Gi-Oh bulk pile. This is a Dragon Ball Super bulk pile. And this is a Final Fantasy bulk pile. It almost doesn't even fit on screen. My gosh, there is way too much bulk in these. And the number of holos you get is insane too. Look how large of a pile this is. That's crazy. So, Heavy Armored Soldier, Seymour, Gladiator. I'm going to separate some of the really good ones, or at least the ones that I really like. Even if they're not worth much, I'd like to separate them to add them kind of to a collection. But, yeah, also the valuable ones, because, I mean, I'll be working on that. You know, not the biggest fan of this character, but for my cousin's sake, I'm going to separate that one. Aerith is really cool, but she's only worth $2. That's so sad. This thing, I have no idea what it is, but I think that one was also worth something. I actually didn't look up some of the characters because I was just thinking, there's no way that's worth money. So there's a chance, I'm going to say a small chance, I missed some that are actually worth a little bit. Potentially the Chocobos. I don't think I looked up any of the Chocobos, and they are basically in every single one of the games, so that could be something I missed. But yeah, I gotta say, that was way more fun than the Dragon Ball Super opening. I only opened one booster box of each, so it's definitely not enough of a sample size to say anything definitive on. But I just really like the artwork on these. I love the holo pattern. Like, I think I like the holo pattern on these more than Pokemon's. But let me know your thoughts on the Final Fantasy TCG after watching this. Have you opened it yourself, or is this your first time seeing it? I'd imagine most people, it's their first time seeing it because I hadn't even heard of it before this. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave me a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I put out videos 3 days a week. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.